Delay, you all very happy and uh, everything is fine, and I'm glad that to see you. Very nice here, Bay Area is this one. I that it comes down here. It's cold. It's but nice, and things. I can see the Golden Gate Bridge is very clearly, and it's a little bit casted. Hopefully, that's nice weather. And the weather does affect to my mind too. When the weather is sunny days, mine's much happier and relaxed and everything better, much better. So something is connected with the whole thing. Is that so? Um, so we are all connected. Teaching says that all sentient beings are connected with our ourselves many times. Somehow that we should understand that our time of life is kind of a circle of existence, that somehow there's a beginning, and there's an end, there's a middle, but somehow there's also a beginningless and all round. Sounds like time is kind of become a round, like a ball, around, so the time is curved somehow. So within that curvature of that time, that somehow we are just being together, and amazingly just being. And it's our physical thing is just changing. That is a wonderful things that we opportunity to be experienced and various forms of our sentient beings, and sometimes you are enjoying in heavenly and beautiful enjoy. You live in very beautiful prosperity and a long life, and everything is loved, and so everything's fine, everything's good. And then you tired with that, or you just karma is finished at that period of time, then you say goodbye for that, and then you can just, there's no much, someone, when that time is over, then there's nothing much to choice. Sounds like ordinary in a sentient being's circular existence, that if we don't have too much choice of to be somewhere, but there's a choice is made by others, which is the karma, and the law and the innumerable, which is whatever we somehow this phenomena of the law, karma. Now we know that karma is action that which is delivered from our mental state, somehow good and bad things. Now, where is that also in planted, invested, or something planted inside of some, that is called somehow, there's the various scholars ancient time, different opinions of the foundation of the karmic seed is to be planted or pour into. There's something should have somewhere to land it, and so they somehow decided to have it. That's called the alaya vijnana. Sanskrit term is called, the Tibetan is called Gunshi. It's called Gunshi. My teeth is not, still I haven't got the lower danger. The lower partial was not still. I think the next weekend I'm supposed to get it. So maybe my pronunciation may be a little bit improved better. And anyway, that So they decided, I get the Lord Buddha may be satisfied. And everybody was asking where was it going to be the karma, and how is karma is planted to somewhere. I have to have something to base. So then it's maybe Gunshi, it's Vijnana. It's a Gunshi is called Gun, like Kun, is Gun. She is, I would say, S-H-I, she, Gunshi. So the Gunshi, Namshi is the consciousness itself. So they are the present consciousnesses. You and I have a consciousness, and today, I'm speaking, and you are hearing, or you are seeing me, and so they are seeing things that the present existence of something that is called Namshi. But the Namshi, which is a kind of created karma, Namshi is the creator of the karma to good and bad, and so accumulating the whole bunch of seeds. And then the seeds, like planted in some places, that is called the ground consciousness, is the subconsciousness level of that. Almost like we could say subconscious level. So that's agreed. So in falling into that, and then what happens is then a kind of there's some kind of circumstances arises, just like the farmers seedling their seeds in the underground, and then in the Tibet there's one harvest they collect once a year, but we have to wait the weather. So the weather is winter you cannot grow anything, and then springtime and then seeded on the ground. Then they waited later spring and the beginning of summer, June, then fall. Maybe hopefully the weather rain, something moisture. So that kind of thing, circumstances of that arises. That's called gain is called gain is the circumstances that cause to rise, and so that looks like that you and I have some seed that maybe not one kind of seed, but many seeds that accumulated, and good and bad, and so that. Sometimes good comes first, sometimes bad comes first. It's kind of, there's no too much a rule, but the rule is made by how much circumstances of that moment is gathered. There's not the circumstances, kind of plural circumstances, like many circumstances, in order to produce us. So to be born just like myself, that my consciousness, and that they are karmically, that in my previous karmically planted in a Vijnana, the consciousness, the ground consciousness, that is the kind of circumstances as it arises somehow. That circumstances was come out, and then karma, the length, the relationship, which does come up above the Alaya Vijnana, then becomes a number Sheba. That number Sheba is some kind of has some kind of accompanied with a kind of Pakcha. You remember Pakcha is a habitual mental memory that is bhakta is just wanted to be something. I wanted to be something that come up, and that then in order to be that, to manifest into existence of that life, and then you begin to have the circumstances, other circumstances. So that I was looking for the Pados Namshi, my Pado intermediate state of my the Pakja consciousness is a kind of a very, very single cell of consciousness, Pakja. That my entity is a single cell, but that single cell of a consciousness is something that has inside of that is the force of it to be something, because of the habitual things that goes around us. So I was always dreaming something. Now I know, come out from my Alaya Vijnana through the manifestation of the single cell of Namshi, Namracheba, is called still not a human being, neither anybody being, but some being, single cell of a being that I knew that I want to have to be. I have a notion about some sort of fear, or to be something, always to. There is a notion of that. So that, and then the outer karmically involved some more things that are inside of that. Although that in a single cell that has inside of there some more pajas, which is more subtlety, karma, lengths. That is all kinds of things there. And then among that, then somehow come up that my parents, my father at the time, and there's some kind of a time, and also the parents and the place, and a condition of that moment of the situation of the parents, and so those whole things kind of contribute. Then my single entity of that Bhadu intermediate state of being, my self is, and I'm not Lama Kunga, but not Kunga Durmi, or nothing is. Have no names, and just enter the inside of a thing as a sort attract. That is, and sometimes there is a people see some maybe male and female together sleeping or something, attract something. There's some kind of sexual kind of attraction is so great. So then driven from that, then I just end somehow that circumstance that includes the previous karma of a relationship with the parents. Many times may have been exposed when I was alive, times in different places. So there's some kind of that kind of eventually comes when it gathers into that period of time, with that my situation of their situation, parents' situation, and that period of time. And so there is a parent's situation, as you know too well. If you have a parent who has 3 children, but you had a first circumstances of a child of different timing and different situation. Then the second one is different. The third child, and in a time of that is different. And a situation of time and parents, and time and space and place, and everything is different thing. So that my time is that is, and that came, and so I went to the attract into the trapped into that force of female and male kind of energy place to attract, just like some sort of small like a what do you call the maples, like some kind of a thing, like an amber, like a liquid amber trapped in the insects inside of the amber. You see sometimes amber inside of there's a insect similar to that is kind of trapped into the between the semen and the eggs together, and then from that it's not freezed because the father injected to the mother's womb, so the mother is carry the womb inside of the while mother is alive and has a blood and every energy of that inside of her womb, and with the king and they're holding eggs, and that's the it's not a freezed, it's that they drop the inside outside somewhere, and or then it was you won't produce a child because it'll be, we call it a child lost child, and the eggs can come out, and so nobody it's the end of it. So that's so because of that possibility, and the fortunate that my fortunate was that kept in that eggs, and then they kept them a certain number of months, and then I came out in various shapes, and in the beginning of the shape is kind of an unidentifiable, but and so on and so forth. So then you know very well. So it so came out of my life. So then I was being born as a child. So and then the child was being cared by my parents, and my parents are so kind, and so therefore without my parents wouldn't be able to survive. I was born even a kind of a little bit defected a child's body, so it was just so very they had a difficulty to take care of me, and so they did a lot of things, and so prayers and a lot of things. So somehow I survived with their kindness, caring of that. So I become the child of my parents, and my parents are very kind, and I respect. Without them, I would not be there here, and so that's why parents so important, right? So now we know how so important it was parents was, and then I've been born many times. So you've been born many times, just like me, born many times in the wombs of many sentient beings, and throughout the space where there was a space is under the space in sentient beings, born over and over and over until it stops somewhere. So then now we're born here as a human being, and we are some of us aging, now myself is aging to go to going back to the tribal tree inside by a single cell of consciousness going that way again. And this was so important for me that my single cell know that's going to be. How is a single cell or single, what do you call it? Vital, fancy way of saying is a vital consciousness, the absolute vital consciousness is a kind of like, in other words, becomes a single cell of consciousness that I'll be there when I was dying. I will leave why it's at the gross level of a consciousness. I feel my feelings, volitions, and the sense of all the things that 5 different senses aggregates. Everything is I will leave, or it kind of peel off. All that's the important cells are separated from me. So what happens is left of the very, very small cell of the number shiba, and Padu number shiba that it goes through again. So now what can I do? So this right now I have some of the comprehend and the constitution about the senses put together. And I knew that I recognized something that is a single cell that I needed to work on hard and to remind my single cell and to practice that. But the practice of compassion, right? The Buddhist says that all down to the point is the love and the wisdom, awareness is intelligence, and that is use of that love and the conscientious, what do you call it, some kind of intelligence, use of that and practice and combined and to practice that and to get that compassion, boundless compassion, that because of that is every walks of life in the universal level, that it down to the point that speaking they come with the words of the single cell that have to go through until they reach the enlightenment and until to be something. Some being some samsaric, being somebody like you and I being born as a human being, and so that we human being in this life have only choices, ever since you are born till maybe lucky that you live in 180 years. You live, maybe that's it. There's no choice whatsoever. This was somehow something that is, we don't know who decided this human being has a limited 100 years, lifespan. So there's somebody, I don't know, nobody, we don't see it. Some beings live 1,000 years. Some human beings live maybe longer. Some, a couple of 100 years, 300 years, people can live, but they are not useful too much. But they are there, but it's not so much. So some of some way Southeast Asian, some Buddhist monks have lived 140 years, but they kind of really not so much physically kind of functioning, but he's still there. He's talking and he's touching his great child. child is touching his hand. So that's kind of amazing, but that, not so much. But you don't want to live like that kind of a thing. So reasonably, while we are conscious and while we are still okay, let's take advantage of that. Somehow, at least we practice the Dhamma, the essence of the Dhamma that explains the compassion. And that somehow how to be compassion is that we, how do you introduce this mind of my mind is a compassion is you yourself. You you feel something good and bad. You feel when things that happens, bad things happens, you hurt your heart, and you good things happen, your heart is more happier. You all things are kind of a thing. There's a you the one. There's a suffering. You're suffering, and then you can change the happiness. And these two dual things are inside of me, and so all we need is then skillfully, what is the suffering? Who is the suffering? And why is suffering? All those questions are kind of, we use wisdom, that's kind of, wisdom is nothing so much, like a magician holding a sword. That sword is not wisdom, but it's a gesture. Sword usually means a sharp knives cut of anything you need to cut so easily. That's kind of symbolic thing. You cut the ignorance, cut. And so it's a sword. So the thing that why is suffering, and why is it miserable, and so and do not be naive yourself, and you just wake up within that suffering. Why I'm suffering is just to, and just wake up from that. Oh yeah, I'm suffering because of I did this, because of that, and because of that. What's the net? And so that there's cause and fact that you can find, and so you can, and then you can solve the problem inside within yourself. So that's the best way to solve. Always problem is solved by our individual ourselves. No people, children, or some ordinary people, they blame other people. Oh, you made a mistake. You did it. This thing. I didn't do it. I'm a so and so forth. For example, good example is a child blames to mother, whatever that things he or she just something that problems, and then child says, "Mom, you did this, Mom," so they blame mom. That's the kind of thing. Automatically, I myself, even though I'm an old man and just supposedly practicing here, but I dropped something, try to catch something, but because my hand is no longer youthful hand. My hand is like 89 years old, and try to hold something, and they can't hold it and drop it. So damn it, that's my hand. I blame my hand. Damn, this hand is so stupid. So that I blame myself, and it's so stupid, right? And it's nothing's wrong. You are aging old, you've become yourself old, and so that's what's happening. So we complain, and it's, the Dalai Lama was joking that when he was a child, and there's one guy was the Dalai Lama had somebody, or British people, or somebody offered it, the car, automobile to Dalai Lama, and at the end of the day, this, and of course, the automobile itself doesn't do any good there, but in the garage. But there was one guy who's also trained, Tibetan guy was trained how to fix the car, So one time, when Dalai Lama was saying, he was there, working, investigating the car, and then his mechanic his driver was fixing something, and the underneath the car, and he was fixing something. He lifted up his head, without consciously. I mean, he lifted his head, and the head hit the head underneath his car, and he hurt so badly. So he had the fist to the car, and he kicked the car. And he was so laughing. The Dalai Lama was so laughing. This guy, he had entertained that guy. So that sort of thing, even though we do that, so blaming something, somebody else, and so we have to watch at that. I have to watch that. That's a kind of learning. Just then to take breath, long breath. And it's just calm, and it's ridiculous being one person. And there's this and that, so many mistakes that, here and there, so many things. So watch, and watching, especially reaching the old age of that. So watching every situation, and so they're walking, talking, eating, any situation that have to watch it. So that watch is the, watchfulness is very useful. So we watch it, we generate it. We know that example, we are the perfect example of a sentient being. We live in a cyclic existence of samsara. So this is the example. So this example, then you can apply to other person. Other person, and a husband and wife, children, relative, friends, everything. You can exactly same thing, and then so well, and then there's a Mayan, a Buddhist compassion practice is that the first practice is that you practice your enemy, the most hated person, right? Most hated person, to the compassion towards to that is a hard. What is that stupid thing in the world? Is that to be people say an enemy is to stay away from that. Forget that, an enemy is an enemy. And so that is a completely different, so that we kind of, in a practice level, that first thing, hardest thing is you take a challenge. You take that hardest job, you take it. And you do the hardest study, take it. And the hardest meditation, we take it. So do the hardest thing, and it's hard. It's very painful, and it's a fail many times, and then you still work harder. But then it has a tundru. Tundru is very helpful. Sabha and tundru. Sabha means patience, and the tundru is the challenge. The effortless, that is to do that Sabha and tundru, and with the help of that is Shirab. And then the compassion, then you do the practice on the enemy. And so then if you we usually said the lamas will advise how can we do the practice compassion to for my most hated person. How should you do that? So you should go into the secluded places alone yourself, and with quiet places, and then nobody's there, and then you just sit down and you visualize your most hated person in front of you, and then you talk to them. You can say something bad to him, or whatever you can do, punch something you can do. And if you punch it to the wall, what happens? Maybe the sheetrock that the modern house, if the sheetrock is too thin, maybe you'll be able to make the hole in the sheetrock. And that's about it. What you get is a sore in your fist. And so that in front of you, that you can do a play around and talk to them, angry to them, and talking to them. And then sometimes they say that replace to yourself, and you are his enemy, and he is practicing your friend. And so talking, negotiating, and so on and so forth. So these kind of things are ancient, like the teachers, great teachers were practicing that. They said that it's so important maybe we should try that. And the one night, it's interesting too. And the psychology is that maybe works for today too. And in many ways, to use the highest quality of your mind, and what is it, when, what, how, and so these questions thing do and meditate, and so now we know that you and I have to supposed to do that. We know that we're going to die, and the die means not empty, some nothing's, like nothing come back, or nothing like a zero. It's not like that. Somehow there's a single cell that maybe looks like what's it called there, jumped inside of the fall inside of the alaya vijnana. That is kind of hard to explain. In that single cell, that becomes one of that single cells detached from the senses of the all life organs, the organ, as 5 skandhas, aggregates, things like that. It becomes, then it falls into by itself. It becomes maybe the subconscious level, so that there's no necessarily. Some people might think, oh, there's a consciousness in some kind of universal consciousness in somewhere, in like ocean, somewhere you can go and fall down. I don't think that's wouldn't be like that. There's no subconscious vijnana is not separated from what I'm saying is not separated from your single cell of consciousness. So number Sheba, so that's the thing. That's very important. So and then goes there for sometimes that Vijnana, flow consciousness that stays for a long time, even sometimes kalpas, aeons, because of circumstances didn't come up somehow. And then, okay, now time, it sounds like scaring when you're talking about the aeons. You know the aeons is the kind of innumerable times of that countless times, but the time is not exist in a way. So I'm going to say that's phenomenal. Then that's and let's say non-existence of time. That the non-existence of self-consciousness is trapped in non-existently in it, and then in that level, and then non-existential circumstance arises, cause and fact, and then it comes out of being against self again. And then non-existentially, we practice that, and then non-existentially, so-called nirvana, that you can reach the enlightenment, and that is phenomena. That's phenomena, things that happens. Just like a diamond, nature, it's how the diamond is formed. It's just something, nowadays they're making a diamond kind of mechanically, artificially making it something heat, but it still needs a heat, a tremendous heat, pressure. You have to have that. And so this manifests that there's some kind of when we do the meditations or seriously, if one wants to liberate ourselves as well as other sentient beings, there is a need a tremendous power to effort to drop everything out, and go to the cave. That's Milarepa. He dropped out. He's the only one he did it, dropped out everything completely and stay in the cave in the mountains. And very few people have done that. Amazingly, even his guru, Marpa, didn't do it. That's why, remember I told you, the Marpa's great teacher, who is that? Naropa. His name is Naropa. Who is that Naropa? He's from India. He's a crazy yogi. He was study in Nalanda University, and he become a Bumramba. And there was a professor, scholar, master of the university, famous university, and then he dropped out completely, and he went to the forest, and then he his intensity of that tremendous changed incredibly from that university. Like that, Harvard University, if you drop out of higher professor, I know that there's a professor, old professor, and you remember that? Larry, I know the college, the professor, he dropped out. He was very, very high professor with beautiful neckties, beautiful suit, and a big pipe, the scarf is his mouth, and distinguishedly speaking, with a silver-colored hair, and oh my gosh, we serve, coffee, we serve momos. Yes, sir, yes, sir. And so that, then he dropped out. He just went to India, gave up everything, and then he made it crazy himself, and made a lot of you guys' parents were crazy, went to crazy too. Your parents were crazy. And it's a crazy, a whole bunch of made it crazy Americans. So that's crazy, the crazy yogis. We like to be a little bit crazy, in a sense. We are crazy, compared to the rest of the average social people. And so that's good enough for us. So let's do the prayers to develop compassion to you and to me and to an enemy of yours. To me, it's like some communist Chinese or something, but it's not bad. Communist Chinese, Mao is supposed to be bad, but because of without Mao, I wouldn't be here. You know that? Because of Mao. And I was here, escaped here, outside of the world, inside. So I thank you for Mao. Liberated me somehow, right? And so there is something that you talk about, what is this enemy? So you just, my attitude was to change that. Without Mao, I cannot be here. And so Dalai Lama says too, when he met Mao, he's a very kind man. Of course, he's a very wise man. He's a very kind man. He knows Buddhism. His wife or his mother was a Buddhist, and so on and so forth. And so he cares about something. He cares about his country people. So there's a compassion in him too, but it's limited, Everybody else, and the world leader has some kind of compassion, and so everybody wants to help something, it's kind of limited, but the lack of some certain kind of wisdom. So what you and I are just doing is we sit down meditating on the enemy. And for me, Mao is on top of my head and sit, and like a Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara transformed into that nature. And so, or care Mao is my child, Mao is my grandpa, and I can do that. So there's no problem. If you think that way, you don't have a silly anger, towards the enemy. So that's where it helps to me too. And so, and if you forget that, if you don't do that kind of a practice or something, then you're really human being. And I wanted to do something to challenge, So what the world today, is still challenging, lack of understanding of that, unfortunately, all world is crazy like us, So we wish that the world is crazy like us, right? And then there's no problem. There's no such thing enemy. There's no Democrats, there's no Republicans. Leaders okay. So understand. So everything, what compassion is so important, and that's with the wisdom. So then, of course, the beginning and the mentally practice, and then dedication part, end of it is a dedication. And so at the beginning, as we say, I wanted to really understand this philosophy, meaningful me, life for myself, my so may I be able to born or raise such kind of wisdom. Please help me, Lord Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, enlightened beings, everybody. So prayer, that comes to prayer first. So in front of us, Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha mentioned that, and the wisdom, compassion, fully compassion, Sangha is Buddha. Remember, Sang is awakening his mind completely, and Ge is a blossom, his knowledge. At the momentarily, Sang and Ge is together in a non-dual way, manifest his mind, let's say that way, and there's within that there's the inexhaustible power and the wisdom and compassion, and there is thing that so blessed us. The blessing is kind of the devotion, inspiration, and the blessing. This works together, just like what do you call it? Like a material, like a food, like making it like a Tibetan pa, zamba. You need a zamba. You need a tea. You need mixed with the hand. So without mixing it by hand, there wouldn't be that the time you're able to eat. So that sort of thing. Same thing is happening here with your devotion, with your with the inspiration, and then there's quality of the Buddha quality. Everything pours into ourselves. You have to play around, and what is inside of you really, you wanted to free of that single cell that is becomes a lit up light, and that the little light in reaching the enlightenment is that what we need is, and so that enlightenment is much easier to get while you are a single cell. And so in that manner, you lit up. So in that energy level, and that the single cell of light of enlightenment is the free of everything. Now you see the all panoramic, everything. So do you see the samsara? It's just like go to the moon or one of those planets where you see nothing, ash, dusty. Go to in a dark place where mirage. Go to the beach and you can see the mirage, desert somewhere. There's a samsaric description. It's many of them karma, which is a star that which you see in the sky. That's what we see is no longer there. It's million years ago, gone, right? But it's still something you're imagining seeing it. Karma, rubrib is I have some rubrib in my eye. So something is going on inside of my eye, which is not exist. Right? It's karma, rubrib, marmi. Then the marmi is a light. Marmi comes to light, but that goes off. On the off, and just like gas, sometimes in the middle of the field, you have a gas flame comes out, and it's lots of flames come. Some of them films I used to see around. The films are traveling. The local people, the average people, thinks that is ghost. It's in reality, it's a gas coming out, and it ignited each time and looks like traveling alongside of the mostly on riverside. In my village, that you have lots of those at night. You can see the gases traveling in the films. Karma Marmi Juma. Juma means a magician. Magician created, you completely diluted your eyesight, your thoughts, and do something, cards, play something, all those things. That's samsara. That's one is the fourth one. Kama Ravi Marmita Juma. Siva means morning dew on the tip of the grass. And it looks like a pearl. Well, yeah, I see it in the tree leaves. Other pearls, and they're beautiful, but they are nothing, no useful. Nothing is pearl about it. It's just dew. Kamaravi Marmita Juma Siva Chubur is a bubble in the water, or a bubble when you go to the bathroom and the toilet, you can have bubbles. You go to the ocean, you can have bubbles. And the bubble is a bubble, somehow the bubbles are huge, but the bubble is just empty. So then you must Siva is a bubble, Chubur. Then Milam, dream. Dream is just dream, nothing. Law, which is underlining. The underlining is just like samsara. Because samsara is this earth is breathing in and out. Many times, who knows that how long this has a breathing in and out and turning around. And how many, they must be. Some days, they will slow down. They want to slow down, then it's die. And there's some people think that the sun is going to be weakened, and it becomes and then burns out, falls down. Everybody burns down, So that is, and just like that. And then the clouds, like the clouds that comes in the morning, and when the evening clouds comes in, sometimes blue sky. So that's a whole bunch of these examples of samsara is described so much. So that one becomes an enlightened being to see the samsara is they see like that. And it's just also ridiculous with this middle of samsara beings doing. So those things are you can apply to our understanding towards to things more seriously, and eventually you develop those. Not now, because samsara is right now is, sometimes samsara is important right now. You can say, oh, I don't need it right now. So because you are not ready. So I'm not ready too. And so it's a kind of, so with, so I'm not ready. So since I'm not ready, I'm just asking the Buddha, please help me to slowly to get, let me enjoy my samsaric life. And there's a beautiful, fancy prayers to Dara prayers. And it's, I reach our final goal is reach the really single cell of enlightened mind. But it makes sure on the way that I like to enjoy the all kinds of the enjoyment wherever they are. I like to get that also too, without any troubles. So that's a prayer thing. So the prayer is very interesting. And so in ancient times, the prayers was also, they know that human beings' mind, so they also wrote down prayers to us. And so to make it happy us that so with this, so there's a whole bunch of there's a compassionated Buddha. Bodhisattvas, they also do all kinds of they know exactly close to us. They know exactly what you need. So what are you thinking about it? So they do those prayers, and there's so many things there. So this is so that again that prayer is called a milam. Milam is very important. Milam jobs. Milam, nowadays we have a big congregation of Buddhist denominations and the different places, in the West, and we have the Milam prayers. World Peace is called Milam prayers. Gathered hundreds of thousands of people gathered in the West, and next year will be gathered in Colorado, and the Sajja Nyingma Gajukilu, all and everybody has now just joined the group of a Milam, doing various places, various time. So they are doing the big Milams. That Milam is very important. So in that Milam, to reach the enlightenment, to remove the suffering of sentient beings, to be reunited, everything harmoniously, that's the core of thing is a Milam. So during this Milam, you have also fun to meeting relationship, meeting friends too. This Milam is also focused. You can kill the one stone, two chick, what are called? One killed one, two things, right? So the Milam big gatherings, Kala Chakra initiations, we gathering, and at the Kala Chakra initiation mostly provided a social gathering, and so meeting a lot of people, business people. Everything is you done, and the most beautiful things done in the Kala Chakra initiation. Or nowadays we have each of a Milam festival, and so that there's done good things, as the worldly and the spiritually things done together. That's a wonderful thing, I would say. And so here is our prayer to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So let's say the refuge prayers, and the usual way. Sangye Choden Choji Chonamala Chonju Padu Dani Gyapsuchi Dagi Jinso Giba Didaki Drala Penchre Sangye Drupa Sho Sangye Chedan Sogi Chonamala Changju Padu Dani Japsuchi Dakiya Jinsai Dipa Dedaki Drola Penchre Sangye Drupa Sho. In the Supreme Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, under the enlightenment, I take refuge. Through perfect wisdom, may I attain the Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. So in front of you, whatever you're thinking about it, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and all the celestial enlightened beings who are up to your friends, just sincerely up there, and so you are also interested in developing your mind in a bodhicitta and a compassion, wisdom, and so that you needed it. Milam is the devotion and inspiration towards to them. Imagine that gurus and teachers and all the little lights and these beautiful lights, maybe blue, red, yellow, and red and white, red and blue, and so come out and associated body, mind, speech of wisdom of about it. Enlightened beings comes in the energy that comes just letting up the light to your own light. The candlelight, your candlelight is just like your single cell of your awareness is of where your wisdom is there. So you lit up light, and so you lit up your light. It's just like a light of wisdom of Tathagata Buddha. Then it eyes that is inside of you, entirely lit up light. Then you saw everything panoramically, that you saw the sentient beings and the worldly, that is the example of eight different examples of illusion of the world, samsara, and but there's also you know exactly what they need, sentient beings, comfortable. They need although in the world of human beings, they have a very short lifetime, and then others, sentient beings are even shorter lifetimes. Then there are sentient beings are longer lifetimes, but they are still confused and they're still holding on to it. So what they're holding into is maybe they're looking for some joy, happiness, physically, mentally, and timingly, that the present is that they are so important. Let them have their physical enjoyment and the mentally peace, all that things, and then finally that their single entity of their consciousness becomes transcendent into the Buddha nature of that lit up light of enlightened mind. That is then that's where that's everything is okay, let up now, you can rest, completely relax. So your inner light is on, completely on. Let up light, resting your mind completely. No problems of everything you done, what you needed to be done towards to samsara. You're free, you're all enlightened being. I am an enlightened being. All of them lit up light. So then we wake up, well, not wake up, but we are already in the middle of a light, and as we are there, and then that is enlightenment, experiencing enlightenment. Then from that, again, wake up towards to samsara, and you check all samsara situations, in all those, we understood that samsara is 8 examples of those illusions, examples, but we know that. But we have to admit that they don't know. So what they are doing, they are just moving around, looking for something day and night. So what they're looking for happiness. They're running from something. What they're running from something, they are running from fears, anxieties, and all kinds of things. So there's all kinds of things that are reason that run away, and all kinds of ways to reason to chase all of them. And that's the samsara beings that we used to be there. We are not beings. So now we pay attention towards to that situation and suffering. And so what we need to do is to say something about their prayers. And the prayer is for boundless mind here. Semje damje deva dam deve juda damba juje. Semje damje dunge dan dunge jeju dan tewa juje. Semje damje dunge mebe dewa dangmi dewa ai juje. Semje damje nyering choden dan trawe dan yulai neba juje. Semje tamje dewa adan dewe judai demba juje. Semje tamje dunge dan dunge je judai tewa juje. Semje tamje dunga mi pe dewa tami dewa injurje. Semje tamje nyere Choden dan tawe Dainu lai neba chuje. May all beings have happinesses and the cause of happinesses. May all beings be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May all beings know the supreme happiness, which is being suffering, free from suffering. May all beings rest in immeasurable equanimity, which is free from duality, attachment, hatred, subordinate, and fall. So in this case, Bodhisattvas created your heart, abundance of food, those hunger people need food, drinks and shelters, everything, those people, companions, they need companions, all the things, education from child to all the way to success, all those things, that what needs in the nationwide, to peace in the world, everybody harmoniously, all the blessings of the Lord Buddhas and Bodhisattvas create so many environmental things, harmonious things. Let them to rest, completely rest, everything's okay. Let them don't chase them out. Let them run away from anybody. Just relax and all peaceful. All the things fine. Creating beautiful things from your heart. All the blessings created all beautiful things to all of it, from the 6 realms of sentient beings, which are the gods realms, demigods realms, hungry ghost realms, animal realms, hell realms, human realms, all those things realms. They need just temporal and long-term happiness. All that is bestowed from your heart, reaching the letting up the light of internal light of that is, you know that everyone has a potential to be lit up light. So let them light of wisdom, light of compassion, 2 in 1. Think that way, then everybody rest again, completely rest, happily rest, free now, free, everybody sentient beings now. Then we they think about all these suffering of sentient beings. And we provide a jewel like a heart and a precious jewel on the lotus, and providing beautiful sounds of music, of a mantra that comes out from your heart, your mouth, from your heart and from your mouth, and is prevailing to every world, everywhere, harmonized with all the system of all the phenomena of the collective consciousness of all of them harmonized, saying Mani Padme Hum together a little bit. Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme 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 Mani Bemo man 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 bemo bemo man 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 bemo Mani Padme 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 Om Mani Padme Hum Mani Padme Om 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 Mani Padme Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Om Mani Mani Padme Mani Padme Mani Padme Mani Padme Mani Padme Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum. Then again, that Amitabha Buddha, with the wisdom that we needed, the wisdom and the compassion together. So that is Amitabha Buddha is here visualized in front of us, Amitabha Buddha, and also field of all kinds of things, the whole Tathagata Buddha's field, very enlightened fields all of everywhere, in lit up light everywhere. Omami Devare, 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 Om Mami Deore, 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 Om Mami Om Mami Deore, 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 Om Mami Om Mami Deore, 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 Om Mami Mama Deore, oh 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 Mama Mama Deore, oh 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 Mama Oh Mama Deore, 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 oh Mama Mama Deore, oh 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 Mama Mama Deore, oh Mama Deore, oh Mama Deore, oh Mama Deore, oh Mama Deore, Mama Deore, oh 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 Mama Oh Mama Deore, 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 oh Mama Oh Mama Deore, 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 oh Mama Deore Oh Mama Deore, 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 oh Mama Mama Deore, oh 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 Mama Oh Mama Deore, 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 oh Mama Deore. Amitabha Buddha bless us, all of us, all the samsara people, turning into a pure land. Thank you so much, Amit Buddha. Dana Shakyamuni Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, Muni Muni, Mahamuni, Shakyamuni Swaha. Muni Muni, Mahamuni, Shakyamuni Swaha. Muni Muni, Mahamuni, Shakyamuni Swaha. Bless us, Shakyatuba. Medicine Buddha, very important to Medicine Buddha. All disease will take care of everything. We have all kinds of diseases and sentient beings. As soon as we have a human body, any kind of samsaric body, there's a lot of sufferings, all kinds of things. Please help us. Bekanje, Bekanje, Maha, Bekanje, Raja, Samungade, Soha. Bekanje, Bekanje, Maha, Bekanje, Raja, Samungade, Soha. Bekanje, Bekanje, Maha, Bekanje, Raja, Samungade, Soha. Remove all the diseases over this moment. Everybody moved everything. Please help. And the Tathagata Buddha, Panjana Paramita, Essence of Heart Sutra, Deyata Gade Gade Para Gade Para Samungade Bodhe Soha, Gade Gade Para Gade Para Samungade Bodhe Soha, Gade Gade Para Gade Para Samungade Bodhe Soha. All the phenomena formed emptiness. All form is emptiness. All the emptiness is form. All aggregates of everything is form. All form is aggregates. Emptiness is. Panachari disease, please help me. Bishati Panachari Shawatawari Prashamanayi Swaha. Bishati Panachari Shawatawari Prashamanayi Swaha. Bishati Panachari Shawatawari Prashamanayi Swaha. all the diseases, modern disease, everything is pure, clear out everything. Green Dara, Dari Tutare Ture Swaha, Dari Tutare Ture Swaha, Dari Tutare Swaha, Dari Tutare Ture Swaha, Dari Tutare Ture Swaha. Green Dara help us everything. Manjushri, Arapasanati, 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 bless us, all the intelligence, increasing brain sufferings moved into intelligence, all thank you so much. Vajrapani, Vajrapani, Vajrapani hum, Vajrapani hum, Vajrapani hum, Vajrapani hum, Vajrapani. Vajrapani hum, protect us, teach us all the teachings, all the precepts, all the secret teachings. Bless, give us, thank you. Singanata, Omari, Singanata hum pe, Omari, Singanata hum, Omari, Singanata hum pe. Blood disease, Naga disease, all of them protected. Thank you so much. Singamukha, Akasama Raja Shadara Samaraya Pet, Akasama Raja Shadara Samaraya Pet, Akasama Raja Shadara Samaraya Pet. All the demon thoughts, evil thoughts in the world, everything is moved, change it. Thus we conclude our meditation merits dedications. Kinamai Dejin Sawada Betu Dasa Kandu Nebi Sajosu Nedu Yobon Dabzu Shiwata Chuda Dashi Piwa Zadusu Dani Jishin Jiwa Tamjedu Risai Lo Se Aje Mi Bata Ningje Shishin Lama Lagune Pande Alame Atamzi Alan Sho Yewa Kundu Yanda Lamata Demi Choden Bela Longjuji Sada Lamji Yonde Rabzone Dorje Changi Koban Yordosho. Through the power of Mamla practice and respect and praise, may all sentient beings the benefit of whatever they may be, cause and the sickness and the violence and poverty to subside. May Dharma and the good administration ever increase. During this life and in all lifetimes, may I have a clear mind and a good trace without pride, respecting the teachings and have a great compassion. May our bond with the glory of the Dharma continues. During all lifetimes, may I not be separated from Lamas. May I enjoy the glory of Dharma, having completely paired with state of authority, state of wisdom. May I quickly attain the state of authority.